we'll start with Clownfish. Clownfish put out a video about Fantastic Four. Because apparently the Fantastic Four had an 80% drop in week 2. Week 1 apparently did well, and then the viewership on it cratered after week 1. Viewership is absolutely, like, ticket sales have cratered. And, which is very interesting because from what I heard, was it amazing? No. Was it decent? Yeah. I heard that it was actually decent. So I am honestly really surprised that it went off a cliff like this. So, let's take a look. I'm genuinely curious how the hell this happened.
Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here.
Geeky's here. Sorry, Neon. It's the rules. Redheads together strong. I don't cover up the sassy redhead. It's in the bylaws, Neon. I'm so sorry, but you're getting covered up for this one.
With Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
This isn't very good news for Marvel, for Disney.
No.
Fantastic Four had a massive drop-off in its second weekend. Yeah. So we're going to talk about that because even mainstream media outlets like USA Today are saying that normal moviegoers just are over Marvel.
I think it's a cross between being over Marvel and being over Pedro Pascal.
We're going to talk about that because I think
yes.
you're.
Oh my God, yes. This is why I'm actually honestly surprised by all of the positive reviews I've heard regarding the movie. Like, even in terms of Pedro Pascal's performance. Because there was so much shit regarding Pedro Pascal months before this movie came out. Like, not only were people really fucking iffy about the movie themselves, because the movie itself, based on the previews that we saw, like the trailers we saw for the Fantastic Four were like, don't know about this. Not only that, plus the female Silver Surfer thing, but there's been so much shit regarding Pedro Pascal for the last several months. I was surprised that people, like critics that actually, like, that are first but fair, actually said, holy fuck! Why, Nux? Hi, Raiders! Hello! Holy shit! Welcome in, Raiders! How are you? Welcome in, Nux. How is your stream? And oh god, I'm about to get a crap ton of follows, aren't I? Welcome in, Raiders. I will thank you in advance for the follows, because if I suddenly start getting absolutely flooded with followers, I will not be able to keep up, and I need to throw off the alerts. Thank you so very much, Nux. I hope you had a wonderful stream. I actually started watching your Hassan video today, and I got a little bit of the way through before I had to stop because I had to go on stream. But I do hope Nux, if you have said something, I have completely missed it. My chat is just flooding by me right now. If you've said anything, I apologize for missing it, but I do hope that you had a wonderful stream. Honey Pooh, where aren't you? Where? Come on now. Yes, Just Bud. You guys have come in right at the beginning of we're taking a look at Clownfish talking about a Fantastic Four movie and how basically it had a massive drop off. That's what you guys came in right here at the beginning. So this will be fantastic. Yeah, it's basically, we're in regard to that, like, Fantastic Four had a good first week, and then the viewership absolutely cratered in week 2. So geez, I should probably move a little bit because I'm going to be getting covered by my own alerts. uh, so I'm like really curious how the hell Fantastic Four cratered so badly during week 2. And so we're going to be taking a look at Clownfish's video regarding it, letting us know, maybe it'll dive into how the hell was going to happen when it started off so well. So we shall continue.
Right. I think Pedro
Thank
Pascal
you,
is definitely factoring into it. A lot of people not liking him that much. And I have to wonder if that is the reason, or a big part of the reason why people are not going to see this movie, then what's the Mandalorian going to look like? Because, I mean, we're talking, not only is it Disney Star Wars, not only is it a follow-up to season 3 of The Mandalorian, which, was not received well by a lot of fans, but it's also...
Okay, but there's something I got to point out on that one. Something I've got to... Okay, I got to temporarily do this. Something I've got to point out in regards to that is with... let's see if I can do this. See if that maybe works. With The Mandalorian, season 3 was not well received, not because of Pedro Pascal. That's the key thing. Okay, so Fat Man, Pedro Pascal, I'm actually surprised you haven't heard of him because he is literally fucking everywhere these days. But with Pedro Pascal, people were not complaining about Pedro Pascal during The Mandalorian. During The Mandalorian, what people were hating was the fact that The Mandalorian in season 3 was getting sidelined in his own TV show. It had nothing to do with Pedro Pascal. Everything that people have come to hate regarding Pedro Pascal has been post-Mandalorian. Yes, he was good in Mandalorian, G-Man. He was. I thought that and granted, he pretty much just voice act. Pedro Pascal was not actually in the suit. You couldn't see his face. The actor was not actually in the suit. He was basically just doing, he was just doing, ADR, essentially. But his voice acting for Mandalorian was fine. No issue there. And that wasn't people had to complain for with Mandalorian. It was that Mando was getting sidelined in his own show. And thank you, anonymous gifter. So, and Immortal Senpai, thank you for the subby too. That's what people were pissed off about Mandalorian. It was post Mandalorian that all the shit about Pedro Pascal started to come about. First, it started with they were casting Pedro Pascal in fucking everything. And I mean everything. People were getting Pedro Pascal fatigue because he was getting cast in literally everything. That's number one. Number two, people did not think that he looked right for the part of Reed Richards, particularly with the mustache that he was refusing to shave. So that was number two, is that when he was announced as being cast as Reed Richards, people were not happy about it because they did not think he fit the part, particularly when they had already showcased John Krasinski in Multiverse of Madness as Reed Richards, and he looked good in the role. John Krasinski fit the role very well. He looked the part. Okay? So that's another thing that pissed people off, is instead of bringing John Krasinski back, now, whether or not they even offered him into in the first place, I do not know. It is entirely possible that John Krasinski was offered the part and he declined. I have no idea if that is the case or not. And but for whatever reason, they brought in Pedro Pascal. And he did not seem to really look like he fit the role. That's number two. Number three is all the shit coming out about Pedro Pascal after his announced casting. Ever since he was announced as being cast as Reed Richards, all the shit's been coming out about him. I.e., he's constantly like holding Vanessa Kirby's hand in some way when they're doing pressers. There's all those videos of him like reaching out and wanting to hold Vanessa Kirby's hand. There's, which that is since morphed into her coming up and rubbing on his face, where it's like, okay, they're fucking. Anybody that has not seen some of the latest video footage where Vanessa Kirby walks up and literally starts groping his fucking face during an interview, I'm sorry, they're fucking, and it is blatantly obvious that they're fucking. I think, just Mike, I think he might actually be bi. Because her behavior is, that's the kind of behavior that you give not to a co-star or a friend. That's the behavior that you give to someone that you've been intimate with. Yes, Pedro threw Gina under the bus. I do remember that, Jaspers. That was, comparatively speaking with what we're talking about, though, that was comparatively minor. Comparatively. Not excusing it, still saying it's bad. It's just, it's compared to everything else that we've been seeing with him, it's small potatoes. And then there's the video, the promotion stuff they had where they've had like a whole bunch of women's hands groping his fucking face, and him with that freaking like soul licking that glow stick at a party or something. I mean, yeah, at the very least, Pedro Pascal is bi. At the very least, he's bi, and flamboyantly so. And if he's not bi, then he's gay. And he's lying. But it's all this shit that's come out with in regards to Pedro Pascal since his announced casting as Reed Richards. That's the key thing. This has happened since his announced casting as Reed Richards. All this shit's come out, and a lot of people are just like, okay, I don't want to have anything to do with this. And that's probably why you have the diehard fans and even some of the mildly curious, and haven't actually heard anything about the Pedro stuff, went to go see it opening week, and then after that, that was everybody. And everyone else is like, nope, Pedro is starring in this. He is a fucking freak show. I don't want to have anything to do with this shit. I'm out. And maybe that's why we're seeing that massive drop.
Starring Pedro Pascal, and it's theatrical, and we got shitty Star Wars at home, right?
Yeah. Well, I think it's funny because
that's the question.
Like us, like the normies and stuff, and even the mainstream is starting to point out that
he's in Geeky will probably bring it up,
and it's kind of like a joke, like he's in everything, and it's getting old, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like all these outlets that would have a couple of years ago. I mean, this just shows how much things have changed. A couple of years ago. Wow, they're saying Fantastic Four has the biggest second weekend drop off in MCU history. Holy shit.
What's the first? I'm guessing the first biggest drop off in MCU history is probably Captain Marvel. Gotta be. Where is it in here? Does it say? It's not saying. I'm thinking the first biggest drop off was Captain Marvel.
Yeah, just a couple of years ago, they would have been like, oh my God, guys, this is fine. It's just the bigots. It's all fine. Don't believe the numbers, guys. The numbers are lying to you.
Yeah.
We'll talk about this because this is this is not good news because this movie leads directly into Doomsday, and that's kind of what they're banking on to save Marvel, right? Doomsday.
But Revan, it wasn't Captain Marvel. You say that the difference is Captain Marvel is huge because of Endgame. No, I'm sorry. I misspoke. I did not mean Captain Marvel. My apologies. I meant The Marvels. I'm sorry. I said the wrong title. I was thinking Captain Marvel, but I was not thinking Captain Marvel's first movie. I was thinking The Marvels, not Captain Marvel. My apologies. I misspoke on that one. The Marvels, I think, is the one that had probably the #1 drop off in MCU history.
Yeah, I think that they have a couple. It's Pedro Pascal's one, but people are just over Marvel. Like they're so sick of Marvel. They are excited, but it's Sony for the Spider-Man Brand New Day because they started teasing the costume and stuff, and everybody's talking about that. Like, people were very excited about that one, but except for a couple characters, they don't seem excited about Marvel and the MCU anymore because it's been the same thing, a lot of the same, and it's just boring. And they say there's no fatigue. There is superhero fatigue. It might just be Marvel.
Yeah, I think it's more. I think it's
and there's
Marvel.
Pedro Pascal fatigue.
Yes. Yeah, so let's talk about this before you get into it any further. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You'll get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
And I actually think that Disney, I think Disney is realizing there is Marvel fatigue, bad movie fatigue, superhero fatigue, however you want to call it. However you want to call it. I do think that Disney may be starting to realize it. And I think that may be why the Doomsday and Secret Wars two-parter is going to function as a soft reboot for the MCU. Because they realize that Marvel is basically, it's on life support right now. Marvel is on life support. Doomsday and Secret Wars is basically their Hail Mary. Doomsday and Secret Wars is their one chance to try and fix things. And that's why it's going to function as a soft reboot. And they're going to try and salvage the MCU and try to turn it around. Whether or not they can do it, I will tell you my confidence is excessively low. I really don't think that Marvel is going to be capable of fixing the problem. I really don't. I simply have no confidence that they'll be able to fix the problem anymore. Because it's gotten so out of control that I think it may be beyond repair. But this is one of those we'll have to wait and see. Maybe they can pull a rabbit out of their ass. Maybe they can't. But we'll see.
Now, for those of you who actually bothered watching, for the first 3 minutes of this episode, and you're thinking to yourself, well, you guys are a bunch of haters. You were rooting for this movie to fail. You guys probably gave it a bad review if you even watched it. Yeah, no, actually,
here we go.
I actually gave it a really good review.
Mm-hmm.
I gave it like an 8 out of 10. I thought it was great.
And Neon is not alone on this. I'll let him read his commentary, but he's not alone.
I love the Fantastic Four. Like I was one of those nerdy kids. I liked the Fantastic Four over the Avengers because they were like the science team, and I thought they were really cool. My complaint, I had a complaint about Pedro Pascal, but for the most part, like I thought it was amazing that we got to see Galactus on screen, and I loved the look of it and all that. Gave it a really good review. That being said, two things can be true at once. And
yes.
This is what people like. I don't understand why this has to be an either or. You personally can like a movie. Actually, a movie can be objectively good, right? It can be a damn good movie. It can get like a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes. It can still be a box office bomb.
Well, we see this all the time with cult classic films.
Yeah. And like Neon's opinion where he said, I actually like the Fantastic Four quite a bit. I've heard that from several critics that have watched the Fantastic Four, and they said they were surprised it was actually a pretty good movie. That Galacticus was probably one of the best parts of the movie. That Galacticus was actually very well done. A lot of the critics that I listened to, I've watched their review of it, have all said that Galacticus was one of the best parts. That the female Silver Surfer wasn't actually a wholly big deal, and like they fear, the rumor that the Silver Surfer and the Invisible Woman team up in the end, or why was I saying Galacticus? Yes, you're right, and it was, I don't know why I was saying Galacticus, Galactus. But the rumor about some female Silver Surfer and Invisible Woman teaming up at the end to save the day doesn't happen. That the group, the four of them, actually do function very much like a family. That Sue Storm doesn't girl boss the shit out of it. That they are a loving family. So they act. A lot of the critics have said the movie was actually pretty decent. It wasn't like mind blowing. It wasn't fantastic. Haha, pun intended. But it was a decent movie. It was a good, decent Marvel movie. But that's how low the bar's gotten. And you know what? A decent movie can still fail. It absolutely can still fail. And I think the lead up to the film probably is what hurt it. Is, people are tired of the MCU, tired of Marvel, because at this point, it feels like it's almost baked into Marvel projects that it's going to be girl power, a DEI fest, and nobody wants to burn their money on it. Nobody, people work hard for their money these days. Going to the movies is expensive. Going to the movies, if two people go to the movies, you're looking at spending at minimum $30 to $50 to go to the movies. And people are very reticent of spending that kind of money on a movie that they honestly can't be confident will be any good. And between Marvel shitting the bed time and time again, plus all the shit with Pedro Pascal as of late, people are just like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll wait till it comes out on streaming. I'm going to save my $50 and I'm going to wait till it comes out on streaming. Which is what a lot of people do nowadays anyway. A lot of people don't go to the movies anymore because they're like, fuck it, it's going to be on streaming in 3 months anyway. Whereas once upon a time, when a video came out in the theaters, you were waiting. There was a big push to go see it in the theaters because if you didn't see it in the theaters, you could be waiting potentially a year for it to come out on VHS or DVD. You were waiting a long time. So that's why there was this big push to go see it in the theaters back in the day, because you didn't want to have to wait that long before it comes out on home video or home DVD. Now, the vast majority come out 3 months.
It was not necessarily a team-up, but Galactus is beaten by Invisible Woman and female Silver Surfer.
Spoilers! Okay, I'd heard the opposite. I heard that it wasn't them that beat it, that they all worked as a collective to conclude it. But Anubis, there have been some that have come out in 3 months. Honestly, some of these films that have come out in theater, they are ported to streaming in 3 months. And so people are going to say, well, why am I going to spend $50 to go to the theater? Well, because Jack, I don't know if my viewing audience is planning to. It's only been out for a week or 2 weeks. And if somebody is still planning on going to see it, I don't want to spoil it for them. Even if might be a bad movie or not, I don't want to spoil it. So that's why people, it is a combination of factors that I just laid out. I'm not going to repeat them all again, but it's that combination of factors why people flat out don't go to the movies at all anymore.
Yeah, like there's ones that they did terrible in the box office, but later on they're considered a classic and everybody loves them.
Rocky Horror Picture Show,
yes.
Hocus Pocus, Christmas Story, Transformers the movie. I talked about that earlier. Mm-hmm. Transformers the movie, probably one of my favorite movies of all time. I literally could just watch that movie all day on loop and I'd probably be fine, just run it in the background. It only made like $5 million, I think, opening weekend or something. It was a huge failure.
Two things can be true at once, and you don't have to
yes, Vespasian, it was. But Vespasian, to your point about the Black Widow movie, that also happened at the height of COVID, and that's why they did a simultaneous release on Disney Plus and theaters, because a lot of theaters were not open yet, so that's why they did a simultaneous release. And that's also what screwed Scarlett Johansson out of a lot of fucking money. And that's why Scarlett Johansson said, I will never work with Disney again. Kobe! Leave Kiki alone! Bad Kirby! Leave Kiki alone! Bad Kirby! Bad Kirby! You do not do that to our guests! Bad Kirby!
I think it was a huge failure.
Two things can be true at once, and you don't have to like this movie. We're not mad if you don't agree with us. We get it. I mean, I get people said they weren't going to go see it just because it's Disney and Marvel. Yeah. Completely understand.
We said that when we did the review.
We did it because we wanted to do a review on it. But, otherwise we would have waited to watch it later. But we wanted to review it. But and well, you wanted to see it really bad too. But
I did because again, I'm biased because I love the Fantastic Four.
But you expected to hate it.
I wanted to like it at first because I love the look of it, and then the more I heard about it, the more. And then as soon as they said, "Oh, female Silver Surfer," I'm like, "Ah, shit, here we go." Then I saw Galactus, and I'm like, "Okay, maybe this will be all right." But I actually went into it thinking, like, you know what, Superman didn't, and people were pissed at us for that too. Like, I thought it was better than Superman. But really? Superman didn't quite do what I wanted it to do, so maybe this one will be all right. Maybe, I don't know. And I had no expectations going into it, and I walked out of the theater pretty damn happy. That doesn't happen. You know how seldom that happens for me anymore?
I know.
To actually walk out of the theater.
They're mad at you for that too. But look, it's true. Two things can be true at the same time. Something can be good that you like, and somebody else might not like it.
Yeah,
it might
fine.
do really bad in the theater. If something might be really shit and it does fantastic, it just that happens all the time. But that aside, it's a huge drop off, which I'm not surprised about so much in the fact that when it comes to Marvel films,
there we go. Wait, back it up. Hang on. Okay, the worst. Okay, yeah, so the previous one was the Marvels. A 78% drop second week. Ant-Man and the Wasp, a 70% drop second week. Okay. Yeah, so it's what I thought. The Marvels was the previous title holder of the worst drop in the MCU history.
I'm not surprised about so much in the fact that when it comes to Marvel films, we were talking about this the other day, most Marvel films are very front-loaded.
Yeah.
If you're fans that are going to go see Marvel film, usually go see it opening weekend. So a big drop-off for Marvel isn't really surprising, but this is a bigger drop-off than expected. They say about like an 80% from Friday to Friday.
Yeah, it's the biggest drop like in history.
And overall,
Leo, to your point about Captain America's 68% drop, I'm thinking that's referring to Captain America New World Order. The new one. Not the first Captain America, not Captain America, the first Avenger. I believe that was probably referencing the newest one, with Sam Wilson as the role of Captain America. That's probably what it's talking about with the 68% drop. Apparently Eternals didn't have that bad of a drop off second week, though, Ben. According to this article, it doesn't talk about the Eternals. So,
yeah, it's the biggest drop like in history.
And I think overall it's only going to be like the 60-some% for the whole weekend, but that's a huge drop.
That's a huge drop off. Marvel movies, again, they are front loaded. This happened with Captain America too, but it's like, oh, look, haters and bigots. Captain America did fine. It did over $100 million. Everything's good. You're just a bunch of bigots. And then it turned out that overall the movie lost money.
Yeah, people that say, oh, you bigots, Captain America did $100 million, $180 million. It was just fine. Forgetting, of course, that with the insane amount of reshoots that were made, that Captain America, for production costs alone, was somewhere in the neighborhood of, like, Captain America New World Order, I think, ended up having a price tag of something like $460 or $480 million. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure, after all the final numbers, I'm pretty sure Captain America lost a lot of money. Like hundreds of millions of dollars.
Well, people went, like, if those were going to go.
That's fair, Sketty, but it is different.
Yeah, they're going to go.
For MCU.
Yeah, and it's the same kind with Star Wars too. Like people who are going to go to the previews. You know, you're going to go. It used to be back in our day.
That's also true. Dark Knight Studio.
Everybody go to the midnight showing, and that's how we knew Solo was completely fucked because it's like nobody showed up.
Now I will say the theater was more full for Fantastic Four than it was for Superman. We went the same time, like the same time frame.
Interesting.
Yeah, Superman, I think, has more legs in the fact that people. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think people had the same expectations for Superman that they had for Fantastic Four. I think again, a lot of it's the issues that people have with Marvel and Disney in general, and Pedro Pascal and all that. But
all understandable issues.
Yeah,
See?
Superman was like, okay, we don't know what to expect. This is a brand new start. We don't know what to expect. And Superman, like I didn't care for it that much. I love the cast. I love the cast. I think the cast of Superman
was great.
And I want to point that out. Like, I think it's great. I just wanted a Superman movie, and it was a Justice Gang movie with Superman.
I called that out too. When the Superman movie was being marketed, I called it out like, why are you going to have in this new rebooted DCU? Why are you going to have a Superman movie where he is basically playing second fiddle, potentially speaking, to the inception of the Justice League or whatever they were calling themselves? Like, that's when you're especially with Superman, when you're reintroducing Superman to the DCU, you don't throw him into an ensemble piece. That's not what you do to reintroduce the Man of Steel. The Justice League has 3 core components to it: Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. You give them their own, you at the very least give those 3 their individual movies to introduce them to the DCU before you start bringing in the rest of the Justice League. And Superman, they are they're the founding superheroes. And with Superman, you brought in the whole damn, a Justice Society, Justice Gang, Justice League, whatever the hell they were calling themselves in the movie. And it turned into an ensemble piece.
People talk shit about Snyder, but at least Man of Steel was Superman only.
And that's where I was going, Robin. Exactly that. Man of Steel, people didn't think it was a great movie, but number one, it was only Superman. You didn't have other DC characters taking attention away from Superman. And also, Henry Cavill was the perfect person to be Superman. And so you had probably the most perfect casting in a generation. Henry Cavill was the most perfect casting for Superman. He was a once-in-a-generation Superman. If you will not find casting better for that character than Henry Cavill. And then they fucked it up. And I think that was what a lot of people were feeling. That probably had something to do with Superman, where it was someone that was had a different actor that was cast. He wasn't as, I'll say, chiseled. He wasn't as big and as chiseled like people expect Superman to be. Even though as Clark Kent, he's supposed to be kind of nerdy, he's still big. He's still big and fit. And, maybe people had a problem casting, but the big issue was that he was in an ensemble with other characters for his Inception movie. And that's, I think, where people had a problem with it. And I've been going on this for too long. We should continue on. And David Jones, thank you for the subby.
But it's accessible for normies. It was actually pretty accessible. It's basically a comic book movie for normies, and maybe that's what we need. Maybe it's just it's me. It's because
I'm more of a normie. I liked it better than you did.
Yeah, and I was just like, it was all right, but why was it not a Superman movie when they called it Superman?
Yeah.
But anyway.
Oh, he was Anubis. He was.
And a lot of people hated me for that, and I don't give a shit. That's fine. You're allowed to have your opinion. It's doing good. People like it. People are going back and watch it. And I don't care. I'm not mad about it. You want to go watch a movie I didn't care for 15 times? It's your money. You can do whatever the fuck you want to do with it. But I don't care.
But the point is the drop off is concerning because a couple weekends out, Superman was going to hit the Fantastic Four crowd. So it was always going to have a big drop at some point. But you have the Naked Gun and stuff like that, but there's nothing really big that's going up against it right now. So why are you sucking so bad in week 2? And I think it's just because people in general don't care, or they're just going to spend their money on what they want to spend, and then they're going to go watch it on Disney Plus whenever it's out.
Well, this is the thing too, because there actually is we're kind of getting past must-see theatrical releases. I think people are going to go to the movies a couple times a year, and it's going to be for some kind of an event, right?
Yes. And this is what I was talking about. People are not going to see movies in the theaters anymore. It's too fucking expensive. So people are not going to the theaters anymore. Especially when anything that comes out in the theaters, 3 to 6 months later, it will be on Disney Plus or on a streaming service of some sort. And people do not have the money that they can shell out $30 to $50 to go see a movie. They can't afford it. It's basic economics. If they don't have the money, if they've got to choose between going to see a movie and paying their electrical bill or buying food for their family, guess what the choice is going to be? And they'll just wait till it comes on streaming.
And I think now, like, I mean, overall theaters aren't doing fantastic. No pun intended. They're not doing fantastic this year.
This is true.
There are better streaming movies and better streaming shows that you can watch at home than to go to every one of these movies, and just the hassle of going to the movie. And if you've got kids, finding a babysitter, driving to the theater, paying freaking $25 for popcorn and a drink on top of your $15 ticket. It's like
exactly.
Or you can just pay $15 for Netflix and watch K-pop Demon Hunters again, and wait for this to come to streaming.
Arguably a better movie. So,
yeah, it was shockingly good. I did not expect that. But yeah, so they said that First Steps has a.
What I'm going to point out, they're saying Neon is saying that Fantastic Four was surprisingly good. What he has not said is it good enough to warrant that level of expenditure to go see it in a theater for most people. That's one thing that he hasn't said yay or nay on. It's a good movie. Is it $30 to $50 to go see it in the theater good? My guess is the answer for that's going to be no.
Production budget of $200 million, according to CBR. They spent $170 million on marketing.
I knew it would be high. I didn't know what it was, but I knew it would be high.
This is CBR, not one of those right-wing blogs. But movies regularly need to earn back over 2.5 times their budget, which means the film needs over $500 million to reach break even.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's earned what? What to say? It's grossed $170 million domestically. And by the end of its second weekend, it can reach $198 million. And it needs to hit 500 million in order to break even. I'm not sure what the global on it is. It's 198 domestic. I imagine the global will be generous and say the global market is giving it an extra 75 million. So at best, it's hit maybe about 275 million on a $500 million budget just to break even. That's budget and marketing. I don't think it's going to do it. I do not think it's going to do it.
I don't know if it's going to hit that. I don't think it's going to hit that.
Superman, I think, will break even, but I don't know if this one will.
Yeah, and they're saying, meanwhile, James Gunn's Superman is doing $300 million, and domestic is $316 by Sunday. Jurassic World Rebirth is expected to gross $317 million domestically by the end of the weekend. I was actually surprised by that. That's a surprise. One too. I went to go see it at the Dollar Theater. I hated the last two Jurassic movies. I liked this one. I thought it was pretty good. I mean, it wasn't mind-blowing, but
I heard that too, Alistair.
We've got dinosaurs and people running from dinosaurs, and Scarlett Johansson, and she's basically the Black Widow in this movie, and it's okay.
Atanashi is saying 370 million. Atanashi, is that current or is that projected? Because they were projecting 190 million by the end of week 2. So is that current? Is that current numbers or projected by the end of week 2 numbers? Because that could make a difference. Because projected numbers can't always be wrong. That's the key thing. It's Okay, Cortanis. I'm sorry you got a surprise shift. Have a good night.
So it was a solid okay.
It was a solid okay because I went to the dollar theater.
It was pretty good. I know you.
Yeah,
you
I was
liked
surprised. I didn't expect. I was morbidly curious because I'm like, they got like a freaking mutant rancor dinosaur. Oh, this is either gonna be really good or really really bad. And people said it was pretty okay, so I'm like, yeah, for $5, I'll go see it for $5.
Yeah.
Sure. And I went, and I'm like,
there it
yeah,
is.
I actually had a pretty good time.
Okay,
I think that's part of it
Atanashi.
too. I think the expectation of the movie, like people build these movies to be like some groundbreak, like this is going to be the second coming, and then when the movie's not, they're like, this movie sucks.
I just think that it's not doing so well because people are just over it. I think the superhero fatigue is real because Superman's doing okay, and I think it might break even, but it's not doing gangbusters either. So it's doing better.
It's doing better.
Gangbusters. I just think people are just kind of over it. And you know what's probably going to do? It's going to kick all their asses. It's probably Five Nights at Freddy's 2.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. Megan 2 didn't do very well, but Five Nights at Freddy's is like.
But like we got Minecraft kicking ass. We got these, these other people are going to see those. They're going to see the Inside Out 2s. They're going to see those films, Lilo and Stitch. They're going to see that. They're not really going out in droves to see superhero movies anymore because.
Yeah, and just Mike, to your point, that's it exactly it. They're putting out the same damn thing, especially with the Marvel movies. It's the same damn thing over and over again. Now, I did hear, I think it was Drinker's review. I believe it was Drinker's review on Fantastic Four. And he did say that thankfully Fantastic Four does make some very good positive changes in terms of how the characters interact with one another. It is very family-like, an actual family-like. Or it is actually family-like. And there was a notable absence of the Wheaton humor. That Joss Wheaton humor that seemed to fucking permeate MCU movies that everybody was so fucking sick of. Apparently there was a distinct absence of that kind of humor in Fantastic Four, and for the better, it was absent. So, and again, this is coming from Critical Drinker. Critical Drinker is someone that does not fucking hesitate to dumpster the MCU and Disney. Drinker is will happily shit all over Disney. He has done it countless times in the past. He has no problem shitting on any movie that's bad or calling a movie good. And he actually said the Fantastic Four was a decent, good movie. He actually did say it wasn't a bad movie. It was a perfectly good, decent movie. And the ironic thing is, in this day and age, that is high fucking praise. That's how fucking low the bar is at this point when it comes to Disney, is that simply being decent is incredibly high praise. And yeah, Drinker gives you credit where it's due. If it is a good movie, Drinker will actually say, yeah, I went into it thinking it was going to be shite, to basically use Drinker's expression. But it actually was good. It was actually a good movie. He calls it like he sees it. He's not going to shit on a film just because he hates Disney. If they put something out good, it's going to be good. It's why I consider Drinker to be one of the most reliable source. Drinker, Neon and Geeky, I consider them to be amongst the most reliable critics when it comes to if a movie is good or not, because they will happily shit all over one movie from a company, but then they will actually give them another movie done by the same company its proper credit that it's due if it's good. He's between the two of them, and if there's a few more out there, they are fair in their criticisms. Yes, Anubis, sometimes I do watch Open Bar. Yes, I do.
They're tired of it.
They had an article the other day. They were talking about, 800 million being the new billion, that basically a superhero movie can aspire to 800 million, but I'm like, they're like the most expensive movies to make.
See?
And they're not getting, so eventually what's going to happen, and I'm thinking after Secret Wars, like Disney might even look at this and be like, we have lost so much money on these Marvel movies over the last couple of years.
Disney is not bad either, Gowan. Or Glowen.
Let's rest Marvel for a while.
I think the pandemic, people realizing you didn't have to go see everyone, set it off. I think then they started going into phase 4, which, we all know what happened with phase 4 and how it went from there on. And they, changed characters out. Those other stuff people didn't like, so they didn't go. And now you're just to the place where Disney, some of the choices that were made and some of the things that happened, they expect agenda, not a good story. Yeah. And then you got Pedro Pascal out there shooting his mouth off constantly and in everything. And that's going to turn people off. And they're just tired of superhero movies because they're usually subpar superhero movies. Yeah. And they're just like, I'll wait until it comes to Disney Plus. I don't care. It's many things.
It's many things. It's just, I think it's over. I think honestly, Secret Wars, they were talking, they were going to probably reboot Marvel after that. I'm like, stop it.
You're going to have to rest it for
they're not wrong. Neon and Geeky are not wrong about this. When it comes to the MCU, they need to Doctor Who it. They need to, Disney needs to shelve the MCU. They need to shelve the MCU and Star Wars for several years. They need to absolutely shelve it for several years minimum so people can get the bad taste out of their mouths that they currently have. That's what they're doing with Doctor Who. They're after Sudagat was run, it's probably going to go into the fall and stay there for probably at least 10 years. They need to do the same thing with the MCU, and they need to do the same thing with Star Wars. Put it away, give it 10 years for people to forget about it. Because at this point, people need to forget that the MCU and Star Wars in its current form exist. And 10 years later, you can bring it back, reboot it, start from scratch again, and start over. That's realistically, like I said, unless Disney can pull a rabbit out of their ass after Secret Wars, it's the only logical choice when it comes to MCU and Star Wars. Because it's too far gone at this point, honestly.
A good 10 years.
Stop it for 10 years, and then we can come back to it and be like, okay, maybe we need to do this right.
But they won't.
They won't. They'll be like, okay, well, we had a 10-month rest. Let's plan.
Because we need money. And
that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. And that's Disney. Disney doesn't get it. They're like, well, we spent billions of dollars on these franchises. They're evergreen. We have to just keep milking. Well,
Feige's already saying that they're going to go more quality over quantity, and they're already shelving things. They're cutting back. And
okay, can I point out, they already claimed that they were doing quality over quantity before. They'd already claimed that probably about, 2-3 years ago? Something like that? Disney claimed that Marvel was going to they were going to cut down on their theatrical and D+ releases, and they were going to focus on quality over quantity, something like 2 or 3 years ago. They've been saying this. It was the lie detector test determined that was a fucking lie. Okay? So, no, the only, I honestly don't think the reboot's going to save it. It's shelving it for 10 years. Let people forget about it. Let people get the bad taste out of their mouths. And then bring it back in 10 years with people that actually know what the fuck they're doing. And maybe you can bring it back again.
And we're going to try to do more things that are more standalone, that the shows aren't connected to the movies, because that turns people off and everything else. And they're basically trying to go back to what they were, but I just don't know if you can. No. I don't know if you can put that genie back in the bottle at this point. So, anyway,
yeah. I'm gonna wrap up here with the fact that I think
I'll address that in a second.
Its time, and it's just like Star Wars is never going to be Star Wars like it was when we were kids. That's never going to happen again, because it was just a lot of things that the right place, the right time, the right thing. It was new. It was fresh. Same with Marvel. It's never going to go back to what it was, because there was nothing like it before. There was never this big interconnected cinematic universe And it's just, it's past its prime.
All empires, right? You build and you build and you build and you build, and you're just building until you collapse.
Yeah, because you can't sustain it.
It gets too big, and I think that's where we're at. So,
anyway, we gotta wrap it up.
Yes.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.
For more pop culture news, views, and rants, go to news.clownfishtv.com. That's news.clownfishtv.com.
So, Fishrock, to your point that you said, which was stop using the same characters, use some different, perhaps more obscure characters. Problem is, number one, Disney is dependent upon characters that everybody knows. That's number one. They are wholly dependent on characters that everybody knows. Number two, nobody has any confidence in the writers that Disney currently employs that would be capable of doing any kind of justice to any new characters, even obscure ones that Marvel might come up with.
Blasted out the ass of the table.
What?
It completely blew its ass out.
Colonel, are you talking about what Disney has done with Marvel? Because I will agree with that.